For more than a century, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has pushed the limits of man and machine. Those limits are defined by who is willing to risk everything.
Honestly, what am I supposed to do?
Those who take it to the edge without crossing it.
Couple more, hang on.
This isn't merely road racing. This is a redrawing of the lines. Every corner begging.
Come on, get it together.
Daring every racer to find a new edge.
What are we doing for front grid?
To their personal limits.
Be aggressive and go.
To redraw their own lines in the sand. It's time to uncover a new set of limits.
Bring it home. Oh, inside.
This is the INDYCAR Grand Prix. The month of May starts now. What's your limit?
So number 12 is on the pole for today's race. And a very familiar number 12 here in Indianapolis is standing down trackside to give the command to get the INDYCAR Grand Prix going.
The next victory.
Race fans, and now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck.
Drivers, start your engines.
You gotta love it. Race engines are running at Indianapolis in May. The build-up to the 101st Indianapolis 500-mile race starts with the run to turn 1 in the Grand Prix. We'll see that next. Doubling up, coming to the start. Will they make it cleanly through turn number 1? Power to the inside, right of the driver. Castroneves to the outside, and the INDYCAR Grand Prix is underway.
And they've made it through turn 1.
Yeah, there's 13 more to go.
Saw Elio Castroneves just tucked behind Will Power at the start, tried to get a draft, tried to go around the outside into turn 1, but Will Power had none of it, and he's off and running.
That's Bourdais down the inside, trying to get a spot on Pagenaud.
Pagenaud loses another spot.
Oh, turn 7 back there, guys. I saw guys in the grass.
Got a car off the course. Tony Kanaan has gotten off. You see he's continued. We'll check for damage.
Hit me, man.
We'll check for damage when we get a better look at the car.
We got a left rear tire going down. Left rear tire going down. Pit this lap.
That's Tony Kanaan's radio. Telemetry tells him the tire's going down. He said, I got hit by somebody from behind.
And Power and Castroneves are firmly in control at the front.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, Simon Pagenaud. We look further back. It's Pagenaud in that Neon 1 car. He's won this race 2 of the 3 years that it's been run. Qualified surprisingly poorly in 7th spot. Thought he might be a little more of a contender for the pole than he turned out to be, as Kanaan comes in to get that tire that's going down replaced and all the rest of them. Doc?
Yeah, Tony Kanaan having bad luck. In 2 of the 4 races thus far, he's had contact at early laps on the racetrack. Gets the tires changed, he is down and away, but again, not the kind of year Tony Kanaan wanted to have.
So as Kanaan rejoins, we try and take a look at what might have happened to him.
You know, when you look at this right now, Tony Kanaan, you're going to see him right here as we're going to go ahead and roll this. He's going to come through the turn. His car coming from behind. Just slices the back of the tire. You can see that right there. hits the rear wing, spins Tony around. That's 27, it looked like, of Marco Andretti.
I think the one that might have gotten him was 19, Ed Jones. They were side by side going in. See if it's the car to the left here that gets him. Can't tell, can you?
Yeah, it almost looked like the right rear pod of Tony Kanaan's car was hit, which I thought was Marco, and looked like Ed Jones was in there too. So just no luck overall, no matter who's hitting him. If it doesn't make your day any better, I can tell you that. I've lived that one.
Doesn't matter who it is, right? Yeah.
And if you sit down and think about it afterwards, there really is such a little amount to gain, Scott, in those beginning first laps. Look what happens.
Well, you know, I've talked about that before, but we've never done it. We just go ahead and try to make the best you can in the start.
Now, second place, Helio Castroneves might have hit. Oh, here's a piece of debris. And there it is. Now Dixon got a piece of it too.
And Dixon got it also.
Yeah, so the danger in that is, will the tires start to deflate because you've run over the debris? Remember, these are a slick tire. It's not like the road tire on our car that has treads and grooves and can really withstand a puncture like that. So at the end result, the teams will watch on their computers in pit lane to see if the tire's going down and alert the driver.
And that is really driver-friendly technology. Oh, who's going down the escape lane?
That's Bourdais.
We blew up.
And that is not.
Motor failure? By the sound of it? And the trail behind? Yes.
He's leaving clues. It sounded bad, and there's oil coming out of the back. And here comes
Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Now let me just add this. Okay, we heard fuel trim 4. Did we make the thing run a little bit leaner, less fuel used, so they can have a great battle as they are right now? Ryan Hunter-Reay gets by, but you saw Ryan Hunter-Reay have more acceleration, more power to get that pass completed. So Ryan Hunter-Reay's probably running the engine just a little bit more rich, giving it more fuel, more horsepower.
Yeah, he hit the push to pass button there. So if you're new to IndyCar racing, these cars are equipped with a button on the steering wheel the driver can push. It's very video game-like, where the car gets a momentary burst of horsepower. New this year, they can have unlimited activations of that, but they have a total amount of time that they can burn. So they have 200 seconds worth of that extra horsepower. It's up to the driver and the team to manage it. Here comes Pigot on Rossi.
We're at that point in the race where the engineers are almost setting the pace of their car. They're saying we have to make an extra lap, so you're going to have to use a little less fuel. And I think that's, as you said, what just happened with Rossi. And also, I think when Hunter-Reay was passing Rossi, he was kind of telling him, I'm the boss here. Get behind me.
Here is Spencer Pigot in for his stop, Rick.
Yeah, Spencer once again having done a great race. He passed 6 cars on the very first lap, and then was also able to get by Simon Pagenaud. Meanwhile, behind him, Juan Pablo Montoya has brought his car in. They're going to make a slight wing adjustment, a tire pressure change, but he is now on the black primary tires.
Pigot has a problem.
Simon Pagenaud, last year's winner, coming in, had some problem with rear grip this morning. Again, the rear tires going away. Slight wing change up front, 4 tires, putting the black walls on for Pagenaud. He's away.
And what a disaster for Spencer Pigot. Stalled the car, leaving the pit stop. That will cost him almost everything and more that he worked to gain in the first stint of the race. Rossi, Montoya, Chilton, sorry, all leaving, Eddie?
What he needs now is a yellow.
Badly.
He was one of the only 2 cars to start with new tires. That might have been why he had such an advantage over Hunter-Reay. And Helio also started with a new set of reds.
Here's Helio in now for his pit stop from second place. There's the leader, Will Power. Scott Dixon now runs second. He's half the straightaway behind Will Power.
Now for Will Power, he knows that Helio is in pit lane, so he is pushing as hard as he possibly can to have a great lap. Doc?
Helio Castroneves, a 3-time Indy 500 winner. They're going to put the reds back on. They're putting sticker reds on. Most teams will go to blacks, but Castroneves has reds. John?
Ryan Hunter-Reay just leaving his pit, so he has had his service, and we're looking, amazingly, that Scott Dixon has yet to hit pit road. We're expecting him next time around. We see this battle leaving pit road at the moment between Montoya. They're on the pit speed limiter. They have to wait, and then they press the button, and Montoya's on it.
That was by less than a foot.
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden leaving here has to stay inside of that line on the pit exit. So Newgarden with a little bit of extra time on pit road that cost him some time on the track.
So now that everybody is getting a new set of tires, we'll really see, Scott, who is quick and who isn't. But I think you'll see those Penske cars continue to lead the race. But Dixon is still out.
Here's the leader, Will Power, coming down the pit lane now. Dixon follows him. Just past the 1/4 mark of the race and the first pit stop for the race leader. Doc?
No complaints whatsoever for Will Power. They will put scuffed primary tires, a black tire zone. Remember, Castroneves put the red zone. He'll have the speed and the grip, holding Power to get the full fuel load. And he is away to number 8 seconds. John.
Scott Dixon is going for the black primary. That's a 7.3 second stop for Scott Dixon. They took some front wing out. Now that he's on the black primaries, this will be the segment he'll be slower. He's going to try to minimize this, which is why he went longer before this pit.
There is your new leader. Helio Castroneves went by Will Power as Power was exiting the pit lane.
Castroneves has not been lacking any speed this year. He got pole at Long Beach. He's more than capable of winning a race here at Indy.
Hinchcliffe and Rossi. This is for 7th and 8th.
And Rossi is not going to take no on this one.
And you can see the illumination again of the PP push to pass for James Hinchcliffe, and you got to believe for certain.
And that one's done. That was a textbook pass on the outside.
And Max Chilton joining in now in the fight.
Which is perfect for Rossi because it takes Hinchcliffe's attention away from him and he can get some distance.
Remember in that first stint, we were riding on board with Rossi when his crew told him to go switch his wheel to position 4, and he slowed down and started losing positions. He's making some of those up now with speed on the racetrack in that 98 car.
He's having such a better season this year than he did last year on the road circuits.
But remember, as you said, they're going to have to come in and put black walls on next time. But Helio was the only driver in the morning warm-up who told me his car was rocket fast on reds, but it was pretty darn good on blacks. Everyone else said they were slipping and sliding, so we're going to find out if Helio's car is still good enough on blacks to be able to hold off Will Power, who will put the reds on when he comes in.
There was a little bit of a hand signal there from Hinchcliffe. Did you catch that, Scott? Is that you use that in Canada?
I was going to say that's not Canadian, but he's Canadian. But Spencer Pigot was the car that went by. Remember, Spencer had that problem in the pit lane, and he has been one of the quickest cars on the racetrack as I've been watching the times here. So he's certainly got a car underneath him that's capable of going very fast.
The month of May kicks off with the INDYCAR Grand Prix. Will Power, the first of the front runners to make a move to pit road. Doc?
And he will go to the scuffed red tires. He told, I'm going as fast as I can go on the blacks, and was still losing time to Helio Castroneves, although Castroneves had complained of a vibration. Oh, Rick.
Spencer Pigot brings the car, and remember, he stalled after his last stop, so the key here is getting it out. They were debating about whether to do a front wing adjustment. They've decided to do that. He gets away cleanly. Doc?
Here's Simon Pagenaud, defending series champion, in for his pit stop, and he will go to the red tires. Pagenaud still having a little bit of an issue with rear grip going away with the car, even though they've tried to adjust the rear bars.
Scott Dixon's coming in to get rid of his black primary Firestones. This should be his only run on the blacks. They're going now with scuffed reds. Not expecting any changes. Wow, nice click. Wow, they dropped it off the jack. Sub-second seconds. Rick?
Meanwhile, Alexander Rossi came in with a nice clean pit stop. They are back out.
At that pit lane speed limit, we'll keep an eye on Will Power and Dixon and Castroneves as Helio's crew gets set to go to work. Doc?
They have been among the fastest on pit road at Barber in Long Beach. 6.5 second pit stop, 6.8. What can they do on this one? They've got to get him out quickly. Watching Will Power. Down and away, over 7.5 seconds, but the red tires have gone on.
See the fuel probe guy?
What was that?
Like he wanted to put it back in there. I wonder if they actually got the fuel in there or if something happened. We'll have to check in on that.
Yeah. So there goes Power by, and he'll reclaim the lead on this hopscotching of pit stops. And again, that plus the strategy play by the Penske team to put Castroneves on the alternate tires, the softer tires, forcing them sometime later in the race to put the black, slower, if you will, tires on.
And that changes the whole complexion of the race.
Yeah, now let's watch the pit stop. The fuel probe guy has got the fuel probe out. Now let's watch here.
And he almost got his foot run over.
Yeah, so I was thinking you might want to go and put that back in, but You know, it's interesting because Elio spent a lot of time behind Tony Kanaan, could not get past him, and then once he was, the next car in line coming up to Tony was the 12 of Will Power, and I think they saw they didn't want to get stuck behind Kanaan, so they called him in the pit lane. I think that was a good strategy move.
So let's go up to speed and take you back through the field. Dr. Jerry Punch is covering Will Power.
Yeah, sort of deja vu for Will Power. Back in 2015, he sat on the pole, led 65 laps, looked like it was his day, no one could touch him. He's led 33 thus far. He will pit once more and put sticker red tires on it. Given the frustrations that Will Power's had this year, nothing is for sure. Remember, he was leading late at Barber and had a punctured tire and lost the race. Now, behind him, his teammate, Elio Castroneves. It has been 47 races since Elio has gone to victory lane. Detroit, way back in 2014. Remember, he's run the red tires now 3 stints. He will have to come in for the final pit stop and put the black tires on, which may make him a sitting duck, although he said today he had the best car on blacks of anybody in the Penske camp. Jan.
And Doc, that's a very interesting point because behind Elio Castroneves is, of course, Scott Dixon. And there you can see the gap. It's about 6 seconds, and he has just been told by his crew, we need you to breathe it a little bit on the straightaway. So he's saving a little bit of fuel, but he knows that Castroneves will have to go to the blacks. He'll take reds. That could be a position he could get, Doc.
Yeah, been a tough week for the newcomer to Penske Racing, Joseph Newgarden, a 26-year-old, not on the racetrack, but off the racetrack. He got food poisoning Thursday night, was up all night vomiting, had to go to the care center for IVs. He had to push fluids and had clear liquids only all during the practice on Friday and qualifying. He went back to the care center this morning to get more IV fluids, but has not complained one bit other than the fact that the car is lacking a little bit of rear grip, trying to get his first top 5 in the Grand Prix of Indy. Jan.
Ryan Hunter-Reay is on a similar strategy in that he has already run his black sidewall primary, so he knows the best of his speed is yet to come. He's run as high as 3. As you can see, as 3rd place, he's had some quick times, but this is actually an excellent recovery for Ryan Hunter-Reay. They started this weekend with a car that he said was disconnected, meaning it just wasn't working the way he wanted from front to rear. Nice recovery, Doc.
Newgarden, Hunter-Reay also in with Dixon. And we go to Jan.
This will be the final stop for Scott Dixon, and yes, indeed, he has a sticker set of reds here. This needs to be quick, and they've had ultra-quick stops thus far. We're not expecting any changes, but they want to get every last bit of fuel. Wow, 7.1 seconds, Doc.
Joseph Newgarden, sticker red tires, no changes whatsoever, topped it off in fuel, and he will dodge traffic trying to head out down pit road.
Well, that's Connor Daly, who is leaving the pits as well. Rick?
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya brings the car in. Remember, they had a problem with the fuel last time, and they reminded him, watch the clutch pulling out. Remember, even though he's raced a lot, he hasn't been doing this in anger for the last 6 months or so.
James Hinchcliffe in. Jan?
For James, he actually was able to stretch this a little bit longer. Remember, he was early on the sequence early on, and now he's been able to save some fuel and get back on sequence with the others. Back on sequence, Doc.
And Will Power will come down for his final pit stop of the day and put on the sticker reds. It should have the most grip, and he should be very comfortable and maybe have the most speed. Brings it to a stop. Got to be a flawless stop. Remember, they had a problem on pit road at St. Pete when they ran over a hose and got a drive-through penalty. Can't have any mistakes. Waiting on fuel. 7.6 seconds, and he is away. Simon Pagenaud, last year's winner, will come down for his final stop as they put the sticker reds on him as well. Final set of tires. Pagenaud's been having problems with a little bit of rear grip, but he's away. Rick.
Xander Rossi brings the car down. Remember, it's been pretty smooth. The important thing you're seeing right there, they're taking off those black primary tires, putting on the red alternate, so he's going to have a much better traction when he goes out for his final stint.
Joseph Newgarden, you saw as we watched him exit the pits, him kind of pull up alongside Connor Daly, exceeded the pit lane speed limit. That is his pass-through penalty.
And I think what he did is he pushed the button on the steering wheel to leapfrog him on the way out so he could be behind Scott Dixon, but he paid the price.
Here's the moment of the race. Castroneves is in. We'll watch where Power and Dixon come back around as Castroneves makes his pit stop.
final stop for Helio Castroneves, and here is the strategy call. Now the scuffed black tires will go on, the reds go off. Can Helio hang on with these tires on? They're slower, but remember, he was the only Penske driver that said he had decent speed on the blacks this morning in the warm-up.
And there goes Will Power. Castroneves trying to come out of the pit lane, get up to speed. It looks like he will in front of Scott Dixon, and so he'll hang on to second place for now.
And those first corners are so difficult when you have cold tires. And this is a harder compound than he's been used to. He has to get them up to temperature as quickly as he can.
Scott, you had asked my thoughts on that, and I said I thought the Andretti team would follow the model they used to get Kurt Busch up to speed, who had never driven an Indy car, had oval track experience, as we watch Pagenaud get by Castroneves, had never driven an Indy car, particularly never driven it here. And the model that they used in getting Kurt Busch up to speed, and even in running the race with him, I thought would be an interesting one to compare. So down to the final few laps of the INDYCAR Grand Prix, and Will Power continues to hold a 4.7 second lead over Scott Dixon. Dixon has used up all but 28 seconds of his push to pass time, though Power still has 48 seconds left. So
there you go here, bud. There you go.
he has that in the bank, and 3 more laps to complete to score the victory. 29 career wins for Will Power in the Verizon IndyCar Series. He won his 47th career pole yesterday in qualifying. Think about those numbers. What an accomplished career for the native of Down Under.
Came over here, and when he first started racing in former Atlantic cars, he was a teammate to Simon Pagenaud for the Walker Racing team. So those guys were teammates previous to getting into Indy cars. Remember, they had many run-ins throughout the years of driving on different teams. And then when Simon Pagenaud was announced that he was going to join Team Penske, where Will Power already was, we sort of wondered how it would work out. But I guess Team Penske, and Roger in particular, has a way to make sure that everybody gets along.
Yes, it's his way. And what a way it's been. This is their 3rd win that they've had here, Alan, on this track? Of the 4 races?
Oh, for Penske, yes.
For Penske,
yes.
On this track.
2 to go.
White flag next time for Will Power. Just looking back through the running order while we follow the leader around. Really nice run for Ryan Hunter-Reay today. He sits in 3rd position after starting back in 8th. Talking about building momentum toward the 500. There's a former winner of the race who's going to come in with some momentum after a solid drive today. A frustrating season so far after a good opener at St. Pete for Hunter-Reay. Results have been harder to come by. Some mechanical gremlins and electrical gremlins for the Andretti team. Difficulties in handling at Phoenix in the last race, but a really nice momentum-building drive for Hunter-Reay today.
And finally, a good result for Rahal, who's now running in 6th. It's good to see him back on pace.
Graham Rahal, who started off back in the pack in 20th place, running in 6th place as we work our way around toward the final lap of this race. Max Chilton 7th. Alexander Rossi 8th, Spencer Pigot 9th after the great run in the opening laps to pick up some spots. And now the white flag in the final lap here at Indianapolis.
What's that smoke from?
That was up ahead of Will Power. Tony Kanaan locking him up in turn 1. Something that the former Indy 500 champ has had a lot of difficulty with throughout this last 2 days of running here.
He's really looking forward to getting off this track and getting onto the speedway.
Now properly sees who's in the mirror, and he knows that he's leading, and like a veteran, like a professional that he is, he moves over and lets Will Power go through without a problem.
Rick Mears and Helio Castroneves, along with Will Power, have been tied for 11th place in all-time series wins. That is about to change as Will Power works his way through the final corners and toward a checkered flag. His 2nd win on the road course at Indianapolis, his 1st win of this season, and victory number 30 of his career. Checkered flag at the Brickyard to Penske Racing and Will Power.
Dude, nice work. Oh, great job, guys. Great job. Great party. Very good effort all around. Thank you, guys.
What an effort.
Really spotty, man.
Final margin of victory, 5.2 seconds for Power over Scott Dixon. Hunter-Reay, Pagenaud, Castroneves will round out the top 5 in a caution-free race on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Yes, they got through turn 1, lap 1 cleanly this year. Scott Dixon, Ryan Hunter-Reay out of their cars already, and now here comes your winner, Will Power.
Will Power climbing out here. Well, my friend, it has been I know, frustrating year. We talked about it at the beginning. What an impressive performance. How would you describe this day?
Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect strategy, and yeah, that was hard work. Full green. You know, I got to thank Verizon, all the guys, all the crew. Say hi to my friend Will Schneider, who lost his leg in an accident this year. I know he's watching, and you know, I know he'll be back changing tires in no time.
Given all the gremlins you've had to battle down the stretch this year, when you thought you might have won a race or could have won a race, what were you thinking about in those final few laps here today?
Well, Dixon was closing there for a while, so I was just really trying to manage the gap, manage the tires because they degraded a lot. But yeah, you know, you just got to hit all your marks, and if it's your day, it's your day, you know. And I have to say, the Chevy engine was mega today. Chevy has done a great job, and you know, I know Honda got a little bit of a gain on us, but we're already back.
Your friends say on a personal level that when your son was born back in December, it changed you. You became much more introspective and much more patient. How did that help you today and early in this year, given all the issues you had?
You know, I've been around motorsport long enough to know that you have your good and bad runs, and the bad doesn't last forever, and the good doesn't last forever. You just got to take it as it comes and not have too many ups and downs, you know, emotionally. So, you know, and having a kid teaches you that.
Hey, congratulations, Will.
Thank you very much.
Qualifications next Saturday and Sunday, 4 Eastern here on ABC. Today it's Will Power holding the winner's trophy of the INDYCAR Grand Prix.